Welcome back to the Too Much Hockey podcast presented by Kentwood Ford here in Edmonton. And we have a great guest out in Ontario. He's joining us for the very first time. He is the vice president and he is the general manager of the Brantford Bulldogs in the Ontario Hockey League. We like to welcome Spencer Hyman to the Too Much Hockey podcast. Spencer, how's it going?
Good, great to be here. It's good to be here, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for taking the opportunity to come here. I think over the time, I'm a big TSN Overdrive guy, fan. Spencer, I might have said this before we hit record, but just I know during the time that I've been watching that program. I know Brian Hayes, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie McLennan. Your names always come up in terms of even when Zach was with the Leafs and what you guys have been able to do as a family. And I know you guys just finished up your guys' celebrity golf tournament not too long ago, and you guys were able to raise $500,000, and I think to date it's around $3 million. Start off on that before we get into all the hockey stuff, but we're big on charities and giving back and the importance that you guys can make a difference in the community. You know, how cool is it to be a part of that charity and what you guys have been able to do for so many different charities as well too?
Yeah, thanks, Josh. I love that you started with the the foundation and the charity element, because for our family it's incredibly important. When Zach made the NHL, he came to me and he said, okay, obviously I have a platform now, and I want to use it for good. I want to inspire others, kids around me, and the best way to do that, our dad always taught us, is by giving back to your community that supported you throughout the entire process of your career. And so we created a celebrity charitable golf tournament. It's the seventh event we just had in the last, I guess, close to 10 years now. A little bit of a pause with COVID. And Zach's chosen to support youth charities in Toronto and in Edmonton. Toronto, obviously, being the community that he was born into and raised in, and Edmonton being his new home, and a community that's really embraced him and given him so much. So really special that we get to do this together as a family.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, and obviously translating that and moving over to that to buying the Bulldogs and that getting approved at the start of the year. How cool was it for your guys' family to purchase a team in the OHL and also keep those ties very strong in the terms of giving back and making a difference in the community that you guys have in Brantford and whatnot?
Yeah, it was. I'm 31 years old. I'm turning 32 in November, but I can confidently say it was a lifelong dream of mine to do this. The OHL has been a league that Zach and I have been, I guess the right word would be obsessed with since we were kids. Neither of us played in the OHL, but it is the best development league in the world. My father came close multiple times to purchasing a franchise, and so we like to call it a 20-year process. That's what it was. And our family is very strong believers in that everything does happen for a reason, and everything's timing in life, and things happen when they're supposed to. And so I've said it before, but I'll continue to say it. I truly believe that it was always meant to be the Brantford Bulldogs, and when this opportunity came up, it was just something that we couldn't look past.
Yeah, that's been good. And how has it been for you moving into the role that you've now carry? And obviously, we're getting to a lot of the great players that you guys have. But is it your first kind of off season? But how cool has it been, that process, that even having the footnote of just half the season of being able to run the team and then getting the team up and running again for another successful season that you guys have coming up here?
Yeah, it's been real special. The Bulldogs are an incredible organization. The brand is special. It's one that I take incredibly serious, the responsibility that I have to put this franchise in the best position moving forward every single day. And that's something that the former owner Mike Landlauer was very adamant on, is leaving the team to someone and to a family that genuinely cares about the brand, cares about the organization, cares about the people, and the people are the most important part, starting with our players. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work. But truthfully, I don't feel like I've worked one day since we started because I love every second of it and I love this team. So
It's not a
yeah,
job in a way, right? It's just a good fun hobby, but and
exactly.
yeah, I can't have it any other better way. And obviously, yeah, you were touching on, and at the top of it, you got your niche kind of going into it in terms of getting a taste of the media market and in terms of that. And this is like the toy department of life, I guess you can possibly say, in in a way where we just do these podcasts, but get to watch and evaluate and assemble a team that is a winning team, and that's what you guys have done. You got three great players, a trio, and I just saw your retweet from the Brampton communications account in terms of three trio players and three drafted players too that are off to the summer showcase. I think in USA there, and that's Owen Ports. Merrick Van Vacker and Jake O'Brien. In terms of those guys, how excited it is to see them getting rewarded and an opportunity to represent their country, but represent your guys' organization too at a very prestige level. And then obviously moving on, maybe at some point getting a chance to represent Canada at the World Juniors in Minnesota too.
Yeah, we're incredibly proud of the three players that were selected to attend the camp. Also, our head equipment manager, Chris Cook, has been appointed head equipment manager of Team Canada as well for the seventh straight World Juniors, which is incredible. And we call him Captain Canada. He's the best in the business at what he does. So we're very fortunate that Cookie is our equipment manager and representing the Bulldogs on the national stage. Each player that was picked, Jake O'Brien, Merrick Van Acker, and Owen Protz, they each bring a different element to a team. Protzy is a tough stay at home, but has offensive traits as well. Defenseman, he's a fourth round pick of Montreal, but I think they got a steal and at that position within the draft. He's a top OHL defenseman. I think he's going to be a pro for a long time. Merrick Van Acker is actually similar, I would say, to how my brother Zach plays. He hunts pucks, physical, fierce on the forecheck, and he can score. So he's got a really, really bright future ahead of him. And then Jake O'Brien, who I think is the best player in the whole CHL. Incredible talent, one of the smartest brains I've ever seen play hockey. And an incredible kid and leader. So for us, we're thrilled with all three players getting selected. And really excited for the opportunity they have at hand.
Yeah, obviously Jake O'Brien, like the playmaking that he has and possesses, I think I agree with you, is if not the best in the league, probably the best in all of CHL. What is how cool was it to see him get drafted by Seattle in the position that he did, and how excited were you guys as a family too to see that and an organization?
Yeah, we were thrilled for Jake. I think I don't know if a lot of people know Jake's a fisherman, so to go to a place like Seattle is kind of just meant to be for him and his family, which is amazing. And we're so proud of him and all our players that got selected and have been. So for us, it's special anytime that you get to be a part of someone's journey. But at the end of the day, I truly believe it's always the player that puts themselves in that position to succeed. He earned it 100%. He's the highest ever Brantford Bulldog drafted into the NHL now, and I don't think there's anyone better.
Yeah, he's definitely going to represent the organization and represent CHL very well in that too, and obviously go on to a pretty great career. You have a really great head coach in Jay McKee. I know a friend of ours here at the podcast who played with the Oilers, Alexander Petrovic, who's with Dallas, is he had him, I think, in Providence and spoke very highly of him. Can you talk about what what he means to your guys' organization and the coaching staff of things? Because a lot of it carries from that point out, and you guys are assembling that as managers and owners, and then finding the right guy to lead these kids on and off the ice as well too.
Yeah, Jay's phenomenal. I said it like we've got an NHL head coach coaching in the OHL right now, and I don't take that lightly. And
Yeah.
that factors into my decision making in terms of our team trying to make a push because I don't know how much longer I'm going to have Jay here. I hope I have him as long as I can, but ultimately he's going to get the call to the NHL soon, and he's beyond deserving for that. The calmness that he possesses in game, his player first approach, communication with the players, I don't think I've ever heard Jay scream, so for me, there's just so much synergies with how Jay's style is, how he coaches. Me being a first-time GM in the Ontario Hockey League, um, I thought it was critical that we got Jay under contract and an extension. Having the experience and a voice like his behind our bench is second to none. So we're thrilled and excited, and really excited the opportunity to work together.
That's awesome. That's awesome for sure. One of the main things, Spencer, we like to touch on is mentorship and what those mentors mean to you and how they mean to you. Obviously, you have a great one in your father, Stuart, and obviously your brother and the rest of your family too. But is there some great mentors you've had along the way to prepare you for this opportunity to lead this team on and off the ice too?
Yeah, what I would say my dad. I would say I've been, kind of groomed for this position since I was 4 years old. Like that was where hockey started for me, or at least junior hockey. Zach and I grew up going to games in the Ontario Junior Hockey League and the Ontario Hockey League. We didn't grow up going to NHL games. We were, very invested in junior hockey since we were kids. My dad owned a team since we were, I was 4 years old and Zach was 5 years old. So for us, we were the kids hanging around our dad, who was the owner and the boss, but it was just our dad, and so we learned kind of the ins and outs of running a hockey team since we were kids, and this is my biggest passion in life, and my love, and so for me, just learning from my dad since I was a little kid, and still learning from him every single day as he's assisting and advising me and Zach on this journey. It's been really special.
Yeah, it's you can't take that away. It's a pretty cool thing. We were in Calgary on Thursday, and we do some minor hockey awards, and maybe Zach will get us to allow us to nominate an award after him. And we have an award called the Michael Backlund Leadership Award, and I guess we can say boo a bit because that's the rival. But yeah, Ryan Huska, the head coach of the Flames, his son was voted to winning that award, and just being able to present that award to him and seeing the connection between father and son definitely means a lot, and it's quite special. And seeing that what you and your father have been able to create, and Zach too, in terms of just that great mentorship and that great leadership and the great community work that you guys are able to do is by far the probably the best around, because you guys do come with a great name, but it also comes, in terms of the care behind, the passion behind, and the respect behind, and the trust behind everything that you guys carrying forward. So
Thank you.
obviously, Spencer, we're seeing a bit of a new wave here in terms of what the CHL and the NCAA have going on, and we've seen some great players leaving the CHL onto the NCAA. And how do we? I just wonder your thoughts first on that, and then the next part of the question will be, how do you think we retain those players and keeping them in the CHL? Because there's a lot that goes behind that maybe not a lot of people know in terms of recruiting, getting billet families, everything in terms of having that player in your organization for, sometimes 4 years, 5 years, even if it's 2 years, it still means a lot. That's family, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think the NCAA rule change has been great. My approach to it is that every player has a decision to make that's best for them. You have certain players that feel playing in the CHL, long term and signing, pro out of here is best for them, and some players maybe need a longer runway. I think at the end of the day, a lot of 18-year-olds that do leave the CHL for NCAA are going to realize very fast that college hockey is a lot older. It's heavier, and it's not a pro schedule. So, I'm a true believer that, a kid like Jake O'Brien, for example, he's going to be a pro faster than some other kids. And so he's going to be taking the approach of playing a 68 game schedule that is best mimicked to an NHL schedule. And that's going to prepare him properly to get to the NHL within a year or two. Whereas another kid may need, 3, 4 years extra of development to prepare themselves for the next level. So I think it's a case by case basis, player by player basis. I do believe the CHL is the best place in the world to develop. I do believe the OHL is the best league in the world. And I do think that us as a league and the CHL and the OHL, the Q, the Dub, are going to continue to have the highest number of draft picks per year. and going to continue to have players leave directly from here to pro hockey. So right now, you could say there's a trend happening. In my opinion, long term, the CHL is only getting stronger. It's only getting better. For every one player that's gone to college hockey, the league has gotten 10 players coming into the CHL. And so I actually think this year you're going to see a much stronger league, even than years past. We've signed 4 free agents, three that are committed to universities in the States, but they're going to play in the CHL before going. And so I do believe the league is going to get even stronger.
Yeah, no, I think that it's very well said, and I think you're 100% right. And the growth of that, the way you guys manage on and off the ice too, is going to be pretty good. Is Gary Roberts a part of your guys' staff? I believe I might
Yep.
have read that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we just brought Gary on to lead our player development. Gary's also, senior advisor for me. He's an amazing person that I can kind of go to and talk about players, roster management. Obviously Gary's got a tremendous history within the game. And what he's doing right now from a development standpoint for, not only pros but for kids is really special. And so for us, to have the opportunity to work with Gary is unbelievable. I think it's going to elevate our entire franchise, elevate the players that are here significantly, and I think it possesses and gives us a massive advantage because we do have the best person in the world from a player development standpoint, that's working with the Bulldogs. So really special that Gary's a Brantford Bulldog.
yeah. How that process alone, in terms of getting him and what he's been able to do, has definitely changed and prolonged careers that maybe not a lot of people have. Because there a way you can elaborate a little bit more? I think what you just said was awesome and very well said. But I just think it's such a great hire in terms of that. There's so many different areas that he can help with you guys with, that you guys obviously with the mindset, the high hockey IQ, the trust, the belief in terms of that. But
Yep.
just the way I think the game is growing in terms of off ice, in terms of working out, what to eat, what to put into your body. I think I read an interview the other day, and I've changed. It's changed and I'm 41, but
Yep.
not having my cell phone next to me and when I'm going to bed, and having that in a different room. I think I saw a video of Gary talking about that. Just
Yep.
something you don't really think of. Is there a way you can elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, yeah, well, that's like one of the biggest things, right? Is like it's not just working out. It's everything. It's sleeping, it's eating right, it's training in the gym, it's recovery. Like there's so many layers to what Gary brings to the table that I think is just a knowledge thing for kids. You don't really know what you're doing until you're taught. And I think, like I said, there's no one better to kind of bring that to light than Gary. He's the best in the industry and in the world, I'd say, and what he does. And our players are going to be, significantly benefit from it.
All right, let's move over. Is there anything else you want to touch on there? I think we're pretty
So,
good there. Okay. All right, let's move over to and finish up on our Edmonton Oilers report, sponsored by our friends at Shadified Salon and Barbershop. And Mo Rahal is the barber for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's definitely taken care of your brother several times. I don't know if you've had a chance to get your hair cut by Mo or heard of Mo yet through your
I've
brother.
heard of him. I haven't though. No, unfortunately not.
Yeah, so maybe at
Heard
some
he's
point.
great though.
He is a beauty. So yeah, they have 3 locations in Edmonton, and they are top notch to have that in their organization as well too. A great person and a great human being. So let's move over to the Oilers. Obviously, great success the last couple of years. Obviously, it was a tough blow and losing the cup, but their window of winning, I was with a few people the other day, is still there. It was obviously a tough blow to see your brother go down, in terms of even seeing the video of him saying they'll be back. They were back. Obviously, they missed him, but the belief that you have in this organization and the future of this organization too, with the great players of Leon, Connor, Darnell, your brother, obviously, there's so many great, and obviously bringing in Ike Howard and Matt and Savoy as well too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll comment as a fan here. Obviously, like I think they're going to get over the hump at some point. It's just a matter of time. So I think I'll go back to the line that I'll never forget. Red Berenson said, I was at Michigan. He said, the best team doesn't always win, right? There's so many factors that have to come into it. Luck, staying healthy, obviously, and I think that was a challenge for Edmonton in the playoffs. So, I'm excited to see the team come back together and be healthy, and hopefully a long playoff run next year.
Yeah, they're definitely set up to succeed in that aspect. What's your thoughts overall as a fan of the game of the NHL, and how has it been able to grow in terms of even that Four Nations tournament, the growth that gave and the exposure that gave hockey, and when it really usually doesn't get the exposure, and now it's on the map, it's on ESPN, it's on TNT. Sportsnet just re-signed that deal. The game is probably growing in a great way, and obviously women's hockey too, Spencer, is growing as well as in
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I agree. I think it's fantastic. The more, fans can see best on best. I think we've been so deprived of that in the last decade. The better. And so it's an exciting year this year, obviously with the Olympics, and the PWHL has really taken off, which is phenomenal. And I think just having, like I said, best on best happen more often. The sky's the limit for the sport of hockey. I know it's growing in a lot of different areas and regions, and it's amazing because it's the best sport in the world. And like I said, the more we can see great hockey, the better.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely gonna be fun. And we'll finish up. We'll go back to kind of junior hockey here. We'll just finish up on the World Junior Tournament coming up here, and the excitement that always brings, and obviously going to Minnesota, and just the fact that USA Hockey has kind of done some good in their aspect too, but obviously Canadian hockey is growing, and obviously we're seeing the great players coming out of the CHL in terms of that representing. But are you excited to kind of see hockey in Minnesota at the World Juniors, or sorry, the World Juniors in Minnesota, and what that's going to be able to bring in exposure to?
Yeah, I'm sure Minnesota is a great market. I've actually only been there one time, but I've heard amazing, things of the market itself in terms of, hockey and whatnot. Obviously I'm Canadian and would love to see it, being hosted in a Canadian city every year. But I have no doubt that in Minnesota it'll be spectacular, and I'm sure USA Hockey will do a really good job, and hope to see, Team Canada leave with gold.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Would you guys put a bid in to bring it kind of to where you guys are to hosting it? How would that go in
Yeah,
terms?
yeah, good question. We're getting a new rink in Brantford, which would be awesome, and that is working with the design team in the city. That is something that the Bulldogs and I and my family do want to host. We would love to host one day a Memorial Cup. We'd love to be a part of a bid for the World Juniors with another city in the future, and that's something that's 100% on our radar. It's a tournament that I think every Canadian kid grew up loving, watching, still watches, stuff that I look forward to doing with my kid, my kids, and yeah, it's a special event.
I wonder, would the World Hockey Championship be on the list too in the tournament that's normally ran in May? We don't really see a lot of those tournaments hosted in the US or Canada, but is that something that a new arena could facilitate in
Potentially, but my focus is on junior hockey, and so my focus would be on hopefully one day being able to,
yeah,
like I said, do a Memorial Cup, do a World Junior, even we had the Canada USA series last year. Doing something like that, I think would be really cool.
yeah.
Maybe there's Four Nations, for junior hockey down the line. You never know where things are going to go, but we'd be very open to anything international on the international stage for junior hockey for sure.
Definitely well said. Spencer, we really appreciate the time you gave us today. It means a lot. And great and continued success at the level that you guys are at in the Ontario Hockey League. We're hoping you guys win a championship and bring it home, and obviously great success at the Memorial Cup if and when you guys get that opportunity. You guys are building a great organization on and off the ice, and we look forward to traveling from Alberta to there to maybe cover some games and be around the rink and interview some kids and put some spotlights on the game that means a lot to us, and the passion that it starts at the junior level. So I really appreciate the time you gave us today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Josh. We'd love to have you guys there. So you just let me know, and we'll make it happen.